Good day, everybody. I'm Dr. Victor Bayodeji. This day we are going to discuss ingredients of Chapter 1 in a typical research report. The students or the researchers, they need to know some of the important things under Chapter 1 before commencing writing. It is observed that majority of the students don't know what to write under Chapter 1. We have situations where students will write Chapter 1 up to 4 or 5 times before it is received note from the supervisor. So the essence of this work is to look at the requirements, what we need to write under each subheading in Chapter 1. The Chapter 1 is also known as Introduction, and in most schools, Chapter 1 is written in capital letter and it is centralized. Directly under Chapter 1, we have Introduction, also written in uppercase, and we have the background to the study, flushed to the left. And in most schools, background to the study is also written in this form. That is, every first letter is capitalized. But in some schools, everything is capitalized, and in some schools, the subdivisions are numbered, while in some schools, they are not numbered. So again, it is important for us to note that this is background to the study and not background of the study. There's a difference between background to the study and background of the study. Let's go on. Under background to the study, the researcher has to give justification to the work. That is, the researcher has to convince the reader or the supervisor that there is need to carry out this research. Under background to the study, the propelling force that is propelling the researcher to write the work will also be revealed here. There must be something motivating, whether positive motivation or negative motivation, that is motivating the researcher to go into the work. The researcher will also have to expose some problems that are associated to the study. It could be a phenomenon that need to be tackled, or a deficiency in some areas, or a decline in efficiency or effectiveness of something, or abandoned project or abandoned problem. So there must be something that calls for study. So under background to the study, this has to be exposed. The experience and the observation of the researcher are also germane here. What researcher has observed can prepare the researcher to go into research. What researcher has experienced can also force the researcher to go into the research. So here, the researcher has the opportunity to hear his observation and experience. Then again, each paragraph in background to the study must be logically written and sequentially linked to one another. There must be connecting. Paragraph 1 must be connected to paragraph 2. Paragraph 2 must be connected to paragraph 3, like that and like that. And this is how to write a good background to the study. And in Masters and PhD, at least 20 to 35 pages of background to the study are needed. But for undergraduate, students of polytechnics, students from School of Nursing, health technology, they can write 2 to 3 pages. Then the researcher should be careful not to use assertive words that he cannot reference. So you should not use assertive words that you cannot reference. Any assertive statement that cannot be referenced must be carefully written, like it is observed that so thing happen, or in some quarters it is discussed that so things happened, and so on and so forth. So the researcher must be careful in writing this place. Then again, background to the study must not be turned to literature review. There should be little citation here. The number of citations should not be too much. It will be wrong for us to have 20-15 citations in like 10 pages. It is too much. Let's go to the next page. The next thing here is theoretical framework. Theoretical framework is not needed in most research, but is mandatory in PhD. You have some masters that master's program that does not require theoretical framework. So theoretical framework is where we have the theory upon which the research is based. And the theory or theories could be a psychological one, a psychological theories for that matter, a management theory, or a nursing theory. So all these ones can be used. Example of psychological theory could be Piaget theory of development, Spearman two-factor theory of intelligence. Example of management theory could be system theory, theory of X and Y by McGregor, then motivational theory of Abraham Maslow of hierarchy of need. The nursing theory, example could be Dorothy Johnson system model theory or Etinua system theory. So we need to have a theory. This theory will help us to explain our work. And it is also possible that we cannot find a relevant and appropriate theory. In this case, a conceptual framework is adopted, where all the important concepts must be thoroughly discussed. So it is also possible for a researcher to use more than one theory, and then the theory or the theories must be relevant to the problem under discussion. So the adaptation of the theory or theories to the study is achieved through model. Model is used to adapt the theory to the work under investigation. Models are a representation of the interactions among and between concepts showing patterns. Models give overview of the thinking behind any theory. It shows how theories can be translated into practice. And we have different types of model. We have Stuffy Bean, model of evaluation. Then Let's move to the next slide. Statement of the problem. Here, the researcher has to state categorically the major problem of the work, and other identifying problems must be explained also, but it may not be in detail. So, in order to have a very good and robust statement of the problem, the researcher must answer the following questions honestly. 1. What is the problem? If you can answer that question, what is the problem, very well, then your statement of the problem will be okay. How is it a problem? You may see it as a problem, others may not see it as a problem. So you have to explain how is it a problem. In Nigeria, we have a lot of problems, and we are used to these problems. And we may not even refer to it as problems again. Whereas people outside Nigeria will feel that we are passing through many problems, but Nigerians have adjusted. So, why is it a problem? You have to tell us. And what is the implication of the problem if not solved? Or what are the implications of this problem? If a researcher can answer all these 4 questions correctly, then you have a very good statement of the problem. Then, finally, the research, I put it in this form. The researcher should exaggerate the problem by citing empirical and convincing evidences. Yes, the researcher must exaggerate in quote. That is, you have to convince us that there is problem. So you must, in form of exaggerating. Take for instance, you can say over 75% of Nigerian children are out of school. But you must make sure that you have journals that support this, because it is assertive in nature. The purpose of the study is also referred to as objectives of the study in some quarters. And here, some also divide it into 2, major objectives and minor objectives. So, the intention of the researchers are spread out here. What the researcher wants to achieve will be pronounced or will be stated here. Vis-a-vis the problem he has highlighted in statement of the problem. So there must be a link between the purpose of the study and the identified problems in the problem of the study. So the intention should be itemized for clarity with direct link to the identified problems. So you itemize it, you number it one after the other. Then it should be written in such a way that the research question will be easily formed. So it's from the purpose of the study that research question will be emanated. All the variables of interest must be addressed here. All the variables of interest, if the variable of interest is gender, we talk about gender. If the variable of interest is level of qualification, all these things must be addressed. So the active words to carry out purpose of the study or objective of the study are to assess the level of knowledge, to evaluate the performance of students, to determine the relationship between this and that, to identify the factors responsible for, and so on and so forth. So the active words are to evaluate, to assess, to determine, to identify, but don't say to know. It is very, very wrong. Research questions. The purpose of the study provides platform for good research questions. So your research question, your purpose of the study, I told you that you have to itemize it. So one by one can be turned, you can turn them to research questions. Research questions assist researchers to solve problem under investigation. Don't forget that the statement of the problem, understanding of the problem, as translated to the purpose of the study, and the purpose of the study, the items, the purpose of the study, will also be translated to the research questions. So there must be link. So students must follow this link. You don't deviate from the identified problems under statement of the problem, and you start and you now write something that is not in your statement of the problem. Or is this student forming research questions that or raising research questions that are not in their objectives of the study? So research question must relate two variables to solve problems under investigation. You relate two variables to solve problems. You can relate the performance of male and female students, the qualification of male and female, the qualification of male and female, you can put it together. So and so on and so forth. So research questions are answered descriptively. Descriptively in such a way that you are using descriptive statistics to answer them, using central tendency, mean, median, mode, using measure of dispersion, range, standard deviation, variance. Then you can also use charts to represent your work. So research questions serve as impetus for items in research instrument. If your instrument is questionnaire, so the question or the items in your questionnaire will be formed from the research question you have. So you can see how it links from the statement of the problem to the purpose of the study to the research question to items in questionnaire. There must be link between all this. The research questions serve as, we discussed that. One-to-one mapping of purpose of the study and research question is encouraged. That is, what serves as number one in your research, in your purpose of the study, should be transformed to number one research question. The second item in your purpose of the study should also be transformed to your second research questions, and so on and so forth. So what, how, when, why, and who are used for research question. So these are the words you use to ask questions. You use to ask questions. So you can say, are there any difference between performance of male students and female students? Or what is the relationship between this and that? So, or what is the extent? What is the level of performance? What is the relationship? Then finally, before I leave this place, research question must end with research with question mark. Since it's a question, you must put question marks there. Failure to do that can attract, you can be penalized. Your supervisor will query it, and you have to do your correction. Research hypothesis. Hypothesis is a conjectural statement that connect two or more variables together. It connects two or more variables together. It could be non or not alternative, alternate in nature. The hypotheses are formulated or generated. That's the word you will use. We formulate hypotheses while we raise research questions or we ask research questions. The testable hypothesis must be formulated. The testable hypothesis must be formulated that incorporated all needed variables. So for you to have a testable hypothesis, you must incorporate all needed variables in your work. The research hypothesis must be directly linked to the research question, but one-to-one mapping is discouraged. Nowadays, we don't encourage one-to-one mapping. That is, if you have 15 research questions, you must have 15 research hypotheses. It is not necessary. You can have 5 research questions and 2 research hypotheses, but you must incorporate all the variables. Then, a typical research hypothesis is given below. H subscript 0 means a non-hypothesis. If it is H subscript 1, that is alternate hypothesis or directional hypothesis. So when you see H subscript 0, so your mind should go to non-hypothesis. So we have it as there's no significant difference between male and female student performance in physics achievement test in selected secondary school in Ekiti. So that's how a typical research hypothesis is formed. So we have statistical tools. Statistical tools like t-test, like ANOVA, like chi-square, like correlational analysis, like regressional analysis, and so on and so forth. Then the levels of measurement, at what level are you taking your measurement? Is it ordinal? Is it nominal? Is it interval? Is it ratio? So all these ones are very, very important, other hypotheses. They're the language of hypothesis. So we are still going to discuss all this in details. The significance of the study. The benefit here, you are going to tell us the benefits of your work, the usefulness of your work, the importance of your work, the significance of your work. What is the benefit? Who are going to benefit from your work? You will tell us. You tell us how are they going to benefit and when are they going to benefit, or even where are they going to benefit. All these things must be stated out under significance of the study. The usefulness of the study to the stakeholders. If you are carrying out a education research, then your stakeholders are students, teachers, parents, proprietors and proprietresses, the Ministry of Education, the government, even the society. So the importance of the study to these people, you have to tell us. So this because it is under significance of the study that you are going to tell us your contribution to knowledge. If you are not contributing anything to knowledge, then there's no point carrying out this research. So significance should be explained vis-a-vis the problem under investigation. The problems that you have highlighted in statement of the problem, and then your purpose, your objectives. If you can achieve these objectives, then what are they going to translate to in terms of benefit, in terms of usefulness to the mankind? So you have to tell us this. Then, significance of the study is written in futuristic form. That is to say, you can write something like, this study will provide, this study will delineate, this study will address, things like that. Then the SOL, that is significant, the purpose of the study as significant of the study, have strong connection with the findings and recommendation. So your recommendation too should not be far from your significance of the study. So I would say that the significance of the study and your recommendation must be connected, because by the time you are giving recommendation, the recommendation must be in line with your findings, and that means, and what you are finding has to do, what your findings must have something to do with your purpose. The limitation of the study. The limitation is the same thing as the scope of the study. That is the area where the study will cover. But it is wrong of you to write scope of the study and slash it with the limitation of the study. You have to adhere to the one you are using in your institution. So, and it is also observed that many students don't know the difference between limitation of the study and delimitation of the study. In fact, it is limitation to the study and delimitation to the study. Limitation to the study could be found in chapter 5, and here you discuss the challenges that you encounter and how you solve the challenges, and how the challenges did not affect the validity of your study, and why we have the limitation in chapter 1, limitation usually found in chapter 5. Although we have some institutions that have their limitation to the study in chapter 1. In case of this, a lot of scholars have argued this, have frowned at this one, that you cannot know the limitation until you carry out the research. So I think the best place limitation to the study should be in chapter 5 and not in chapter 1. That is my own opinion. This is the coverage of the study, and this can be in two forms. It could be conceptual delimitation or geographical delimitation. We also said that it provides clarity and brevity to the research topic. If not because of the delimitation of the study, we have a lot of things in the research topic. So many things are hidden. Those things that are hidden can be found in the limitation of the study, because you have a limited numbers of words that you must put on in your research topic. So other things that you wish to put in your research topic that you cannot put can be found in your delimitation of the study. So geographic delimitation has to do with the location, the area in which the research is going to be carried out, while conceptual delimitation deals with the area of the topic, the aspect of the topic or the content you want to study. You cannot be discussing everything. You will pick the area you want to, the area, the aspect of the topic you want to research. You will pick it. Take for instance, the study habit and performance of students in phases in Ado-Ekiti. The study habit could be put under conceptual delimitation, because we have many study habits. Which one do you want to look at? Then the performance too. The performance can also be put under conceptual delimitation, because we have different types of performance. It could be maximum performance, it could be typical performance, it could be summative in nature, it could be formative in nature, it could be diagnostic in nature, placement in nature. So we have a lot. Which one do you want to address? Then the student. Which student? The SS1, SS2, SS3. Then physics. In physics, which aspect of physics? Is it practical? Is it theory aspect? Then all these 1 to 4 deals with conceptual delimitation, while 5, that is Ado local government, is the geographical delimitation. That is, the work is going to be carried out in Ado local government area. Definition of terms. Here you are going to define some words and some concepts that you use in your work that are not having the same meaning, the same day-to-day meaning, or that does not have dictionary meaning. The way you use it, we are going to define it for us. If, take for instance, male or female could be anybody, any student in SS1, any student in SS1 could be referred to as any, or a girl. If you want to define a girl is any female student in SS1. So if you are not in SS1, you are not a girl. Yeah, so that is it. In your own way, you tell us. But we have some school of thought that believe that you should first give the dictionary meaning and then give the operational meaning. That is for define girl. That is defined in the Oxford Dictionary, or what is the meaning of girls. Then you now put your own operational meaning. So let's say that you have a situation whereby there's no new terms or new concepts to be defined. That means we can leave the place blank. I'm asking you, is it, or must you put some words or some concept under definition of terms just to fulfill all righteousness? Before I go to that, before I leave you, then there should be no abbreviation here. So we see students, they will write WHO and try to give the full meaning. They will write jump and try to give full meaning. This is not where you are going to do that. So let me come back to that question. Is it possible to have research that will not have anything under definition of terms? Maybe you've gone through everything. There's no new word. There's no new thing that you want to define. Is it possible? So I leave this for you to ponder on. So I thank you for listening. If you want to contact me for any question, suggestion, or if you want to make any query, my email address is given, and then my phone number is also given. Thank you.